Now, after they sign this document, suddenly they become the president or the head of state. They start signing B in our names, which is sort of in line with what we are already saying, that they're actually employee of the metropole of the European power. They are not really leaders of Africans. Because if they were leaders of Africa, they didn't need to go to France or because they are going to rule their people. Because American government, Obama, because he want to be the president of the United States, we don't need to come and tell the Nigeria, please vote for me. It doesn't need that. I don't think the Italian prime minister need to go and get popular in France before he can be voted in Italy. Italy is right. Italy. You are representing the people of Italy. The people of Italy decide whether they want to vote you in or out. Peter Obi, who is they say he lost the election. He said at the time when he was going around also talking with the Nigerians abroad, that they were asking, hey, you need to come and buy a house in the US. You need to come and buy a house here in Chicago. But he was saying, well, I'm not trying to run for office in Chicago. I'm running for office in Nigeria. What do I need a house for in the US? Because that is what our politicians do. They are right there in Africa, but have houses in US, in France, in Germany, in UK, as if maybe they are going to be living there. Now, let's pay attention. Let's take one thing at a time. Now, when you have such investment, somebody is going to use that as a racket against you. Because you have something you don't want to lose. But what if you don't have anything you don't want to lose there? Because they don't have investment in Nigeria other than the fact that they want to protect the one that they have always had, which is the exploitation. So you cannot really hold any British politician or hold him and say, okay, you must do this, because if he doesn't do it, what is going to happen? But what about you? If you don't do it, they will seize your house. They can seize your house in UK because you have a house in UK. He doesn't have a house in Lagos. Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. And let's return to the video.
Their fiat money, why not better your own country? So it just makes you question, like, who is threatening these people? Are they being threatened? Like, and can't be their lives. It must be their family lives. So those are the challenges that we have to cope with and deal with. And we have to do it in a way that I think brings attention to it, like global attention, right? And impact, economic impact, to where the people are paying attention and there's no longer investments are being pulled out by the people because they are socially conscious about who's making these types of decisions, right? And I also think that more international attention to it too will get it to stop. But because people aren't aware, a lot of times people are just traveling and not caring about what's happening in the local politics. That's the problem. But if you're traveling and you're actually learning in the process and like engulfing yourself and immersing yourself in what's happening, I think that's where the change starts to happen and become like, we have to see ourselves as world international citizens and not national citizens. Like, I'm not a citizen of the United States of America. I'm a citizen of the world, right? So that's another type of thing that we have to address as well.
Thank you so much for that. It's a complicated game, but it's a game that we need to understand. I think that the European they want to call themselves strategists, and they play a lot of dirty game, from blackmail to racket to scandal. That they want to give you the position. Of course, we know that, okay, the election that they do in Africa, actually they are not an election. They do it so that people can be happy, because so that we don't say that we are having a dictatorship. But we see that it's not an election. We will see the recent one that happened in Nigeria, for example, where somebody will say, even though I lose, I will still be the president. Even though the people say they don't want me, I will still be there. But how do you do that? How do you do a thing like that? I think what happened is that, because now what many Africans are also seeing is that when we are having these people coming into power, we see them running around in the world, going to US, going to France, going to Germany, as if they are going to sign some document that we are not aware of. Now, after they sign this document, suddenly they become the president or the head of state. They decide signing B in our names, which is sort of in line with what we are already saying, that they're actually employee of the metropole of the European power. They are not really leaders of Africans. Because if they were leaders of Africa, they didn't need to go to France or because they are going to rule their people. Because American government, Obama, because he want to be the president of the United States, we don't need to come and tell the Nigeria, please vote for me. It doesn't need that. I don't think the Italian prime minister need to go and get popular in France before he can be voted in Italy. Italy is right. Italy. You are representing the people of Italy. The people of Italy decide whether they want to vote you in or out. Peter Obi, who is they say he lost the election. He said at the time when he was going around also talking with the Nigerians abroad, that they were asking, hey, you need to come and buy a house in the US. You need to come and buy a house here in Chicago. But he was saying, well, I'm not trying to run for office in Chicago. I'm running for office in Nigeria. What do I need a house for in the US? Because that is what our politicians do. They are right there in Africa, but have houses in US, in France, in Germany, in UK, as if maybe they are going to be living there. Now, let's pay attention. Let's take one thing at a time. Now, when you have such investment, somebody is going to use that as a racket against you. Because you have something you don't want to lose. But what if you don't have anything you don't want to lose there? Because they don't have investment in Nigeria other than the fact that they want to protect the one that they have always had, which is the exploitation. So you cannot really hold any British politician or hold him and say, okay, you must do this, because if he doesn't do it, what is going to happen? But what about you? If you don't do it, they will seize your house. They can seize your house in UK. Because you have a house in UK. He doesn't have a house in Lagos. He doesn't have a house in Abuja. So you can see now that they have a way of tying these people together. And of course, these people are playing this game, another man's game, without them knowing the game that they are playing. That you are not supposed to have a resources there if you are going to be here. You should buy your house in Lagos, buy it in Kaduna, so that you will say, if this country collapses, you will collapse with it. If that is the case, you better make sure that you fix it. But if your house is in London, Nigeria can collapse, you fly to London because you have a place to go. So I think we need to also take that into consideration. Now, please tell the people, how can they find this book, this interesting book, so that they can read?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So again, you guys can find the book, Play the Game, Hierarchical Assimilation, at my personal website at nkozi-a.com. Again, nkozi-a.com. It's also on Amazon. You can order it from Barnes & Noble, and I think maybe even Walmart. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to our conversation. I hope you guys purchase and enjoy the book.
So now, what would be the final thought today, considering what we have discussed? Okay, we have talked about different things. Of course, this is an argument that I find interesting. We needed to talk about it, and we did. So how would you conclude it?
My final thoughts for everyone listening is I hope you guys are encouraged and inspired to learn about yourselves, learn more about your identity, and become empowered in who you are. But two, no longer play this game, and be more inspired and encouraged to work together and figure out what that means for you. If it doesn't mean going back to Africa, like what I want to do, then develop your own community and then safeguard that community, right? Because if you're going to build a community in someone else's territory, at least be able to protect what you're building, right? Because we've had historical records of what happens when we do build our own communities in their territory and it gets bombed and it gets destroyed. So that's my only encouragement. And I hope you guys, when you guys are finding unity with each other, you guys are able to build beautiful social enterprises that helps humanity grow and develop from where we are today. So thank you guys again. And I really appreciate you guys listening.
All right. Thank you so much, Natasha. I appreciate the conversation. Yeah, it has been really interesting here and inspiring. So I believe that the audience who have listened to us to this point, they have a lot of value from it. Yes, this is a game that we are playing, but we need to know the game, know the rules of the game. And my observation there, I often say, is that there are two ways for us to win this game. Actually, two options. One, of course, talking about Africans. One is that we need to really understand the game that we are playing. This game is a European game. It's not an African game. We need to be sure that we understand that. If we want to win the European game, we need to take the game after we understand it, rewrite the rules according to us. That is one. The second option is that we have different type of game in Africa that we can also play, because we have more history deeper than the European. You need to know that. Don't believe the lies that you are told. Africans have history deeper than the European. You know, when Europe started to come to Africa, they started to come to Egypt, for example, because that is the one that we know better. But of course, they went also to other parts of Africa. They were coming as students. These were the Greeks. They didn't come as masters. They were coming to learn. Now, let me sort of clarify that for you. If today you want to learn something in the world, where would you go? Of course, you will go to Europe, because Europe is the most advanced economy in the world. Okay, I repeat again, by Europe, I'm referring to the West. I'm referring to the Western country, because they are the people that occupy the West. No? They are the most advanced economy technology in the world today. By extension, they also have the best university compared to any other part in the world. So if you want to go to university, where would you go? You will go to Europe, go to European controlled economy. So at the time that the Greeks were coming to Africa, Africa was also the most advanced in terms of technology, information, education, spirituality, anything you can think about. So that is why they came to study in Africa. So we as Africans have a deeper history than the European, the one that we can even read, but there are ones that were not recorded. Even that too is deeper. So yes, we need to understand that we have games that we can also play in Africa. But mark you, there is a consequence for that. Either when you want to play that game, be ready to pay the price. Because nothing in this world goes for nothing. There is a price for everything. But there is something that I'm thinking about that. Because a lot of us are afraid that, they will kill us. Of course, they will kill some of us. That is the price we need to pay. But Europe, as far as I can see, do not have the plan of invading Africa because we want to be free. They will lose if we choose to be free, yes. They will threaten us, yes. They will kill some of us, yes. But they will eventually let us go. That is the human nature. But they will never let us go if we don't fight for our right. That too is part of the human nature. So if we as a people want to be free, we need to stand our ground, but be prepared to die too. If we are not prepared to die, then we can't get freedom. Because freedom is not something that you sign on a contract. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough there. Thank you so much, sister.
Thank you so much.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfo, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why not take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.